Welcome back to Week 10 of the Rust Belt Sports Podcast. We're going to change it up a little bit today. We're going to do a Browns-only segment to begin with, and then probably have another episode in there once all the games are completed to finish off the NFL Week 10.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Welcome. Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And might I say, what a great week to be welcome back.
What a game.
Oh, Ravens-Browns, baby.
I mean, ultimately, out of this year so far, we went to that Colts game. That Colts game was a killer game.
Killer game.
This game, I think, is up there, if not better.
Oh,
An electric win for the Cleveland Browns this week.
Oh, my God. 15-point deficit, a hole no one thought we could come back from. Easy.
I mean,
easy.
We're playing the whole game. Deshaun's out every other play, it seems like, with that ankle. I think it was an ankle, maybe.
Ankle,
hammy.
I think maybe knee. I don't know what it was.
Point being is, every single time that he was out there, he gets sacked, he limp off the field, he come back, and we won the game.
And my gosh, he performed for us in the second half. I don't know what they said in the locker room. I don't know what they did to change the game plan, but the coaching staff was really able to change your game plan. They didn't go with anything set in mind. They were really able to adapt to the Ravens' top. What was it? The top defense going
Well, so the debate between the week was, if you looked at the over-under for the game, it was 38.5.
Yep.
And our team scored 33 of that.
Yep.
The Ravens, 31. I mean, way off. No one would have expected this game.
Absolutely not.
I mean, we all...
High scoring game.
Yeah, we all were coming into this thinking, all right, it's going to be like a 17-14 game, 21 maybe by one of the teams.
Yep.
And we get a shootout, defensive shootout.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
my gosh. Our defense came a lot. That front four, the front four dominated the second half. They just completely ran over Lamar Jackson.
I mean, if we're
overwhelming.
Just in general, I mean, let's start from the beginning of the game.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, we could go over and over the highlights.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, that
so
second
good.
half was elite by our defense.
Unstoppable force.
So let's start off in the beginning. Obviously, the Kyle Hamilton deflection.
The first pass of the game,
definitely
it really does remind you of the Pittsburgh game where we lost Chubb in the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And started the exact same way. But, man, we were just able to claw our way back.
It didn't seem like it at first, though.
No,
I mean, you look at the game. If you look at the first half of that game, let's just look at the first quarter. It was 17-6.
9. 17-9.
All right.
Yeah, because Deshaun went out, and then we brought in P.J. Walker for that Hail Mary on the 50.
So, I mean, the thing is, like, the first quarter of that game, I believe I saw the stat. It was the Ravens' first time in, like, 2 seasons scoring 17 points in the first quarter.
Yep.
The Ravens aren't a first-quarter team.
No, they are not.
They came out. They put on a show in front of their crowd.
Yep.
The Browns, me especially, we're looking at this like, all right, it's going to be another one of those games.
Yep, it's going to be It's going to be a rehash of what happened earlier this season.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Like, I don't want it to be that game.
Mm-mm.
You go into the second quarter, another stat pops up on the prompt. Our second quarter offense is one of the top offenses in the league when we're in the second quarter. Sorry, and it showed.
It definitely bled through on that one.
The momentum started swinging that way in that second quarter.
Yep. And we ended the second quarter, 17 to...
I think it was 17... I can't remember.
24? Or did they... 17-9?
Yeah, we didn't really score much in the second, but we were at least gaining yardage and showing an offense again.
Yep.
Browns had 2 field goals.
And then at the end of the second quarter, that's when Watson got the first time he was kind of limping.
Oh, yeah.
Walked off early, went to the locker room. P.J. Walker comes out. Weird call.
Absolutely weird call. When you have someone like D-Hop kicking the ball for you, I mean, in the Colts game alone, what was it, 50-plus yards?
Well, so the Colts game was the first game that someone did. I think he did 3 50-plussers in that game, which is the first time in history, I believe.
And if you don't have someone like Justin Tucker, then someone like D-Hop is someone you can turn to when it's that yardage.
You look at the Browns, if you're talking in the kicker history of stuff here, we're a team that has never, besides Phil Dawson, that's the last name I can call out and remember. When we had a kicker, we can go out week and we can trust.
Yep.
We drafted Zane Gonzalez, Cade York. I don't know the other guys that were in those rooms for the past couple of years. But we have constantly been wrecked by our kickers.
It's been unfavorable for the Browns. So going out, cutting York, hard cut. He was so good for us last season.
Was he though? I mean, let's be
honest.
honest.
He was a lot better than people remembered. I remember him coming up in big moments. I just remember it might have been the 2020 playoff run. Maybe the 2021. I just remember when...
I can't remember which one.
How long has he been in the league?
Cade York was with us for the first 2 seasons, if I'm correct, but don't count me on that one.
All right. We remember the first season.
Rigo, if you could, look up when Cade York was drafted.
Electric.
Look up
Cade York when he was drafted.
Until then, you know what? I remember he was very, very good for us. One of the best kickers we've had in a long time. And even though he was struggling, it's hard to make the decision to cut him off, especially for D-Hop, because I won't lie, I didn't know much of anything about D-Hop.
Well, no one really did.
Yeah, nobody really knows.
He was not cut, but I believe we traded for him.
We traded like a 7th or a 6th for him from the Chargers.
Yeah. And they have, obviously, Dicker the kicker.
They have Dicker the kicker. They don't need D-Hop.
Yeah.
And what an accusation. What a get.
It's won us games.
D-Hop has absolutely won us games.
I mean, if you look at our scores for the year, I think if you take D-Hop out of the equation, Colts game would be a loss without D-Hop.
Hard loss.
D-Hop saved us that game.
Absolutely.
So
York finished his rookie season converting 35 of 37 extra point attempts.
Yep, his first season he was
24 of 32 field goals.
Very, very electric.
His
first
extra
season.
points were amazing. It was always the field goal thing that became the issue. And very clutch kicking. He was not a clutch kicker.
No, he wasn't. His first year he was.
So, I mean, we won't dog Cade York. We won't,
no, absolutely not.
Because obviously he's done and gone.
Apples and oranges. When you have someone who's performing like D-Hop, it's hard to not dog on him because when you move up, the person you move on from is going to seem worse.
Well, of course, yeah.
So we don't want to knock on Cade York, but the D-Hop acquisition was just so electric to get that kind of find.
Yeah.
Oh, how great.
I mean, honestly, to me, I'm going to say it right now, the way D-Hop is kicking, top 5 kicker.
Oh, easy.
I mean, there's no doubt in my mind.
Easy top 5 kicker. You can't really name anybody else who's putting up the stats. Hey, Rico, can you pull up how many field goals and 3-point conversions he's made? Can you pull up just a
York?
No.
Dustin Hopkins.
Yeah, or if you could pull up a sheet of
just pull up his stat line for the year.
Well, I was going to pull up a sheet of all kickers to see because I feel like Cade York has kicked more than any other kicker in the NFL and made them.
Do you mean D-Hop?
Yes.
You said Cade York.
Oh,
just want to
yes.
correct that.
D-Hop.
So
20 field goals made, 13 extra points made. I don't know that about how many.
See if you can compare kicker stats. Like look up NFL kicking stats. So the thing is, with D-Hop, obviously top 5 kicker in the league right now.
Easy.
You look at the Ravens; they have Justin Tucker, who arguably is one of the best kickers in NFL history.
All time.
I mean, there's no doubting that Justin Tucker is to me
when you set
one
the
of the best
NFL record for
there's how many are his.
Easy.
That's the thing.
It's an easy amount, especially with that Lions win last year, 2 years ago.
For what I think, going into this game, D-Hop winning this, because obviously he missed the extra point, missed tying the game.
Yep.
We're down 31-30.
Yep.
And to go back out there in the Ravens Stadium, Justin Tucker's field, where he just kills teams off by kicking field goals, and you slap one to win the game, time expiring, that's a huge
He's just
win.
such a clutch player because
D-Hop's #1 rated kicker in the NFL.
Right there.
Right there.
I mean, right
easy.
there.
The stats are there. Nobody has more production than him. And with how bad our offense has been struggling this year, we do kick the ball a lot, and to have someone just automatic.
It's a safety net.
That was the first field goal I saw him miss all season he spent with us.
I mean, he missed one, I think, last week, field goal, but it was an extra point this week. looking at that extra point, there was some crazy little wind at the end there. Because that ball hooked.
That ball hooked crazy.
He's at 100% on extra points.
Well, unfortunately, not as of today, but...
Are we talking 3 points or field goals?
No, he's
That's
not...
just extra points.
I think he's... What is he from 40 to 49? I know he missed a couple in there.
8 to 11.
So he's missed 3 from that range. But
Week
look
10?
over 50. This is the stat
7
right here.
for 7.
Right there.
7 for 7, baby.
Over 50.
Let's go. That's the type of heat we need.
That is why, to me, D-Hop in this season is the number 1 kicker in football.
And it shows. It shows. He's on top of the stat board for... Who's number 2?
He's tied with Young Ho Koo.
What a great kicker as well.
Great kicker. I mean, the thing is when you have people like Young Ho Koo and Justin Tucker, those are household names to franchises.
Yep.
Easy household names. And then all of a sudden we trade for Dustin Hopkins. Nobody knows who he is. And he's leading the league.
He comes out and he takes it.
Oh
and if we're
gosh.
talking about special teams here, the one thing... All right, let's get it out of the room now. Number 11 for us now, Prochet, if I pronounced it correctly, obviously coughed up that costly fumble.
Oh, costly fumble. Because they did
That
score
almost put the game away for us. I thought at that moment that was a momentum killer. Boy, was I wrong.
Luckily, Greg Newsome, he had that holding call in the end zone.
Yep.
Next defensive drive comes out, gets a beautiful interception.
Well, he wants to show everyone I didn't do that.
Yeah,
That wasn't a hold.
That was a mistake. That wasn't a hold. That's a good point. Even the announcer in the game said that was not a hold, and it was not. Greg Newsome has been elite the entire game, and with Denzel Ward out, he goes, all right, someone needs to step up into the number 1
And that was
quarterback
Greg
spot.
Newsome.
Greg Newsome not only stepped up, he stepped over the Ravens
I mean, the thing is,
offense.
you look at that play in the end zone, and the announcer did state, holding, no. Illegal contact, maybe there's a call there.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But
point is, they get that. We know what happens.
yeah.
He comes back out the next drive and says, you know what? Watch this.
Yeah.
Watch
You
this
think that's
drive.
going to put me down?
And
You think you're gonna put my nose in it and rub my face? No, sir.
he's going straight back down to get in that end zone.
Absolutely.
And if I'm correct, that is his. I know it's his first pick 6 of his career.
It's his first interception.
And I do believe it's his first interception.
first
So good for
interception.
him. If you can have a first interception be a pick 6,
against Lamar Jackson,
congratulations.
Arguably an MVP candidate.
Oh, he's been
league,
great this year.
versus a top offense that's outscoring everybody.
I mean, they're running the ball so efficiently, which leads into another point here. We're talking defenses. You look at the Ravens, they came in number 2.
Yep.
You look at the Browns, they come in number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Big defensive matchup. What's the biggest thing the Ravens do? Run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
We held them to 106 yards on the ground. Gus Edwards didn't even break 25.
No, he did not. Let me put up another stat for you. Now, this might not be rushing. Myles Garrett.
Oh.
7 consecutive seasons with over 10 or over sacks.
Oh, yeah.
He got, I believe, 1.5 in the game. I'm just remembering those 1.5.
Yeah.
When you have a leader on the line like that, you can't pass.
Leader on the line. He's not a leader on the line. He's a leader of the whole team.
He's a leader of the. He's a leader.
He's
of
a
the
leader
NFL.
of the NFL, the team, the fan base. You talk about Myles Garrett, he's the guy.
Exactly. And when you have someone like that anchoring your defense, and then you have Zadarius Smith, Elliott, Turst, you have Dalvin Tomlinson. Those are all guys who stop.
Don't forget
run.
the guy from Houston. I can't ever pronounce it.
Oka
Ward, right? Or
yes.
I can't pronounce
no
the name.
disrespect.
Terrible
No
name
disrespect.
pronunciations.
And I believe he had the tip ball.
He had the tip ball.
That led to the
Greg
Newsome
Newsome
interception.
As we're sitting here on this couch and we're all standing up cheering, catch the ball, catch the ball. They caught it, run it back for the fucking touchdown.
And, man, producing is an understatement. Nobody can toss against us because we have 2 corners that have allowed the top 10 lowest passer rating in the NFL. Greg Newsome deciding to step up.
We
to
did
fill
all
that
this
slot.
with
No
Denzel
run
Ward
game.
out.
With Denzel
Emerson
Ward
was out as well.
Yep. And
we
then
did this
we also
top
did
2
this
out.
with our 2 tackles gone.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And
DeJuan Jones, who's
what
he
a
was
pickup.
arguably one of the best rookie. I heard the stat line earlier. He is the top rated rookie tackle out of that draft class.
And that's crazy because I believe we got him in the 5th round.
I think it was 5th or 4th.
It
Killer
was
pickup out
crazy.
of Ohio State.
It was a crazy pickup, especially because Kansas City drafted before us.
Yeah.
And they picked up, I can't remember his name. but he's been nothing but hurtful to that team. And they left DeJuan on the board.
Fell into our laps.
And here we are, top-rated tackle in the league.
Yep. Unfortunately, he was out this week. I hope he comes back next week because that man is elite.
Bad injury. He is elite's an understatement.
Yeah. Now, and you look at it. I mean, if you jump back to the offensive line side of the ball, the Browns have some issues on the offensive line this year, which is odd for us because typically the Browns
have a
top 10 line. This year has been different. Tre'Davious Wallace, I mean, he's out, unfortunately.
He's out,
but he wasn't playing good anyways.
He was not.
There was calls for him to be traded off the team at the deadline. They didn't. They're holding on to him. But you look at it, we're doing what we're doing on the ground without Chubb, without an offensive line.
Top 3 rushing game in the league still.
I mean, we took it right to the Ravens and just ran it up the gut repeatedly. Let's talk about the biggest play of them all.
Oh,
the biggest. We talk about the tush push being a play.
You talking about the Cleveland Steamer?
The Cleveland Steamer. I like the name.
Yeah,
the Cleveland Steamer.
Everybody just pounding on there. I think what really helped was Batonio really running up, pushing right behind post.
You saw every guy in the line go after him to push him.
They picked him up and just ran him through.
And it's crazy.
You talk about heart. We're talking about the Browns having a line problem when it comes to dirt and grit. The Browns.
You look at this
everyone.
Game. This game was huge for one reason. We showed we wanted to win.
Absolutely.
Everyone on that team stepped up and said, you know what, we're not taking the loss here. Because last time the Ravens came into Browns territory, they were laughing at us. They were going on social media clowning on us. And we got smacked.
We did get smacked.
But we didn't have the team we had the team we have, but like
our starter was
weren't working well then.
No, we weren't working well. We didn't know how. We just couldn't put the scheme together.
We're coming alive now.
We did not believe the hype behind the Ravens. We honestly, if anything, I think we exposed them. Yeah, they can put points on the board. They're doing well. But if you have someone who wants to play nitty-gritty football, where you have to play all 4 quarters of football, you just can't do it. I noticed during that entire game, every single time the Ravens had a positive play, it was for 10, 15, 20 yards at a time. They're a big play team.
Yep.
Fantastic.
I mean, look at the Ravens.
But if you notice, during that second half, we stopped it. And when a team like the Ravens can't put together 5-yard plays to just inch their way down the field, they can only make the big plays. A team like the Browns are going to come up and ruin your day. Because
Jim Schwartz is going to say no to that.
Yeah.
He's going to put you down in that hole right now.
When you have players like we do, who are just so schematically perfect for each other.
It's crazy.
Every single time someone's lacking, you see someone else. Every single time Zadarius Smith was going for Lamar, he'd shoestring him. Lamar would get away. Guess who was right there? Jock. Or Garrett.
Don't forget about Walker.
That big Garrett.
Walker's been elite too.
Oh my goodness. He's been.
I mean, you're looking at
a guy all last year. All year we've been saying we need new linebackers. We need somebody for Jock.
We
can't compete with the linebackers we have. Taki and Walker are good, but they're never going. For them to come out and be playing the way they've been playing these past few years, they took such a substantial leap in their abilities. I personally didn't believe they had this in them, but not only did they have it in them, they're going above and beyond, and I believe they're both top 15 in the league right now. And it should be.
I mean, you look at this team last year. Let's just look at the jump from last year to this year. Last year, we all came out and said, Browns before the season.
Yeah.
That defense can win them games.
Absolutely.
And it didn't last year.
Absolutely.
Last year, that defense was a mess. There was no heart or soul in that team.
Nope.
The defensive coordinator was not in well-liked favor of the defensive players. It tells you what a defensive coordinator does for a team.
Yep.
You bring in Jim Schwartz. You bring in the same talent, add to it.
Mm-hmm.
But not completely redo it. They took the line, which was our weakest point, besides the linebackers. They said, we need more linemen.
We need some men.
They gave the whole line everything.
Yes, they did.
I mean, they could get anyone they wanted. They got them in there.
They got them. And it's shocking because, you don't need Ed Oliver. You don't need someone like Quinnen Williams, which anybody in the world for their team would be glad to have. But we went and got Tomlinson from Minnesota. Yep. We got Turst.
You got our boy from the Texans that, when I saw that signing, I was like,
who? Weird. I thought it was weird as well. I didn't know we needed a left end, but we did need to replace Clowney. And for those boys to be doing what they're doing, it shows that if you have someone like Jim Schwartz, someone who absolutely knows how to run that Cleveland D, someone who is just ecstatic about having a dominating defense, you can have people like Tomlinson and like Terz making huge plays. You don't need a Quinn Williams.
Let the men eat.
Let the men eat. Let them do what they're out there to do. Don't force them to do things that they're not good at. Only use them to their advantage. You saw we were switching them out the entire time just to make sure we had what we needed to do to cover the ball.
We have the ability to do it
so well.
I mean, the thing is, you look at it last year, you compare the two teams, the defenses. Last year, it was like, all right, there's Myles Garrett.
Yep.
There's Clowney.
Yep.
You know what we're going to do.
Yep.
This year, there's so many pieces, and we talk about it, everyone's like, well, is this going to make Myles Garrett not look as good?
And
it makes him look better.
It makes him look like a stud because those other three on the line are giving so much pressure. It gives Myles Garrett the chance to get back there. It's so great because it feels like a load was taken off Myles Garrett's shoulder where it's like, oh, we didn't think he's producing. No, it took the load off his shoulders where it's like, all right, now we made it easier for you.
Because they can't double protect everyone.
No, they can't. And it's...
Because what, you got to shift your lineman over to Smith?
Yeah, you double Garrett. Here comes Zadarius Smith.
Yeah.
You double Smith. Here comes Garrett. Let's say you double both of them. Here comes our D lineman.
Yeah.
Who just been incredible. Insane. And if you get past them, who's there? Jock.
Yeah.
Jock is
Anthony
top
Walker.
10 in the league for tackles for loss.
Yeah.
And he almost had Jackson today. Jackson as good. Oh, he's just. You know, when you have an elite scrambler, he's going to make anybody look a little foolish. And Jock had him. He was able to get out, but Garrett was there.
Garrett stopped him.
Absolutely there.
Smith stopped him. Jock stopped him. You look at Lamar, he was not able to scramble. You want to scramble on us, it's not going to be that easy.
No,
it's not the same team as last year. It's not the same team as the weeks before that you played us.
Yeah. No, it's not.
It's a team that in unison has come out and said, we are the number one defense for a reason.
Absolutely, and those second half adjustments are really nice. You know what? It reminds me of. It seems like every single game we've played, almost every single team gets out in front of us, and it looks like they're being like, oh, the Browns is the Browns.
Yeah.
And we just come out there being like, the Browns are the Browns. We are a nitty gritty AFC North team. We do anything we need to do to win, and we just prove it every single Sunday. And it just makes me so ecstatic that we're able to perform. Now, I'm going to switch the conversation on you. We've been
hold on, I got one more.
One more? All right.
So, with this team, I think the biggest thing we can say here, and this is by far, to me, a golden opportunity to talk about, Myles Garrett is the defensive player of the year. Myles Garrett this year is the defensive player of the year. I'll say it right now. I know you have TJ Watt out there, but watch the highlight reels of Myles Garrett.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's so much better. See, TJ Watt, it pains you to say, because they are a divisional opponent, absolutely stellar player.
Killer.
Absolutely
amazing.
Elite player. Nobody's going to take away from him. I understand he's our rival, but, when someone's elite, talent recognizes talent. But for how consistent Myles Garrett is for what he does, it's just, it blows everyone else out of the water. Yep. There's no one else you can really name right now who's doing better than Myles Garrett. Yeah, TJ Watt. Yeah, but Myles Garrett's still blowing him out of the water. Every single week, we get a new stat about Myles Garrett, about how he is a top 10 player in history for something. Like earlier today, I said he is, I think it was like top 10. 7 seasons in a row.
No, he's not top 10. There's only, I do believe, those 6 players have ever done that in history.
6 players? Guess how many have 7 seasons in a row? Almost all of them. He's basically tied for second or third at the moment.
And I don't see any reason he's stopping. He said it earlier this week in a tweet. He said that he feels like he's in his prime and he's just going to eat.
He absolutely. He just keeps getting better and better with age. And, I'm just going to say, I'm glad that we were able to rally this defense around with Jim Schwartz, because at the moment, especially the last 2 years, it really felt like we were maybe wasting them. And
Yep.
for this defense to come together under this coordinator, it just makes me so happy to see that we really are amplifying him, and he loves being here, and he wants to be.
It's crazy.
Here. It's so good.
So now, I think general consensus, obviously, the Browns are the number one defense in football.
And if you don't think so, then you need to go back, look at the stats, look at the highlight reels. It's just, I mean, if the Ravens are, number one in rushing?
I believe Ravens were number one in rushing. They're number two
one in
overall.
rushing, and we held them to just over, 106
yards was the...
Just over 100 yards. We outrushed them. We stopped Lamar Jackson.
To 106.
We stopped Gus Edwards. We stopped, Keaton.
Yeah, we had Mitchell who had that. And that brings me to my next point. He did
run one in on us, and you know what? That hurt, but, he's been going off these past few weeks. To stop people like that, especially Lamar. MVP Lamar, who's playing a stellar season of football.
Crazy.
It really shows what we're capable of.
So now, let's switch it over to the offensive side. Because we need to give some love to the offense here.
We need to give some love to the offense.
But I want to talk briefly on a point that I think I brought up earlier in the podcast. Maybe I didn't yet. But you look at the first half of this game. It wasn't pretty.
Not pretty at all for us.
And it shows to me that Kevin Stefanski can be that elite coach.
It's interesting because during the game, I remember saying, especially in the second half, I don't know if it was Kevin giving the reins to his offensive coordinator and letting him call the shots, or Kevin taking the reins from his offensive coordinator. But wherever they were able to do and say in that locker room to come out in the second half and produce like that, it does show that Kevin Stefanski is very well-minded for this, and he is being very elite. I know all last podcast I was saying how we need EB, how Kevin Stefanski, I was wrong. I'll admit I was wrong. With this performance he's having now, I mean, he's showing that he really does know what he's doing, how to use Lamar, he got Njoku into the game. Thank goodness. Njoku,
well, that's where we're gonna go.
Absolutely. But let me pull up some Deshaun stats for you.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I want to get my point across real quick on Stefanski. I think that Stefanski took that game into halftime, saw the plan that he put in place was trash.
Yes.
It was not working. Mm-mm. And he said, this isn't going to work. Let's just change the script, run it down the gut like we need to do, get to the open receivers, and like we talked about last week, David Njoku, top 5 tight end in football to me.
Yes.
The guy who has game-changing, ball-handling, route-running capability.
Absolutely.
You look at the highlights from this game of David Njoku.
You can make a highlight reel out of this game alone.
He took 2 of the Ravens players 5 yards down the field. Exactly. He plowed right through the linebacker.
You forget how strong of a player he is. And I'll add on that. Njoku had what probably was 2 or 3 plays, 2 or 3 receptions where it was like, all right, this is going to be a 5-yard play. That's going to be the end of it. He was able to extend it. Another 5 yards. He was very mad.
He was mad. He wanted to prove
when you have
what
somebody
he can do.
Who literally burns their face, melts their face, and comes in that week and says, I want to play for you. You know he's coming in with heart. You know he's coming in with grit. You know he's coming in to run that ball down your throat. And the performance was just absolutely outstanding. Outstanding. When you see somebody like that, the only thing you can think is, well, now we got to think about next week's game. Guess what we got to do? We got to involve him in the scheme more because, my goodness, not only did he prove himself, he cemented himself as an offensive key player.
David Njoku is a top 5 tight end. If anyone wants to debate that, they can. But when he gets in the game plan and they give him the ball, he's going to make you pay.
Absolutely. Now let me read you off these Deshaun stats.
Go right ahead.
First half, 6 for 20, 79 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. And that interception was returned for a touchdown. It was a pick 6 as Kyle Hamilton. Terrible first half. Terrible first half.
We were
all dogging on him. We couldn't believe we spent $230 million on the man.
We say it every week.
Now let me read you these second half stats.
Go right ahead.
14 for 14. He did not mess up one throw. He was on the money the entire time. 134 yards. He broke 200 yards today. 1 touchdown, no interceptions. He was 3 for 3 on 30-yard plus, 30-yard plus throws. And he had that 16-yard scramble where he was wrapped up, he stepped away, he took that hit by Patrick Queen, took a knee, got back up, and we were able to just nail it down their throats.
I mean, if you're looking at Deshaun...
That was the Deshaun we're paying $46 million a year for.
And to sum up Deshaun a little bit, I think we looked at him in the first half. He was scrambling way too much.
Playing superhero ball.
But then in the second half, he took that, and he was still scrambling, but it was practical.
More decisive.
It was...
Especially, if you notice on that Elijah Moore touchdown.
Oh my God, what a play.
You could see he wanted to throw, decided to run, saw him, pumped it a little bit, ran again. Once it was open, he threw it. Now, I believe in the beginning of the season, 9 out of 10 times he would have ran that.
Yeah, 9
out of 10.
No
but
doubt.
Because of the second half adjustments they were able to make, he was just so in tune with his game.
Oh, it was crazy.
And it was crazy. The difference between quarterbacks is crazy. And you know what? It's hard to say we're a second half team. Because we want to be a 4 quarters team.
Well, of course, every team wants
But
to.
when you have a second half that shuts down the Ravens, do we know this? Do we know the score going in? It was 9-24, correct?
Before we start coming back?
No. At the beginning of the second half.
No, it was 17-9. I thought, if I'm correct. I could be wrong though. But I mean, you look at it.
But what
I'm
saying.
Go ahead.
No, what I'm saying is when you have a team that, let's say they had the 24 points, we held them to 1 touchdown in the second half, no other points. We were able to stop them every single time, and then be able to come out and play offensively like that. It's a crazy turnaround. And being a second half team, it hurts, but my God, basically shutting out the Ravens, being able to gain, what was it? 14 points?
What was the halftime?
At halftime, we're at 17-9.
Yeah.
17-9. All right.
So then they got the ball.
So they got 2 touchdowns on us in the second half.
One of which, though, was the fumble from our kick returner. So they started on like the 20-yard line.
Yes, that wasn't amazing. But again, even then, to come back from them scoring twice in the second half to us just being able to steamroll over them, and Deshaun to play literally perfect football. Perfect football. It makes you go, we didn't waste.
No.
We didn't waste. We don't need those picks. We spent the money, and it's showing right now.
Yeah.
And you know what? Every single game so far, he's just been heating up.
Yeah.
And heating up. And heating up. And I just think he's getting more and more comfortable, and he's taking charge. And it's really nice to see because, again, it's just nice to know that we made the right decision. We got our guy. Baker's been absolutely stellar this year on the Bucs. Yeah. Correct?
He's been pretty good. I wouldn't say stellar, but pretty good.
Yeah, better than the Baker we had.
Yeah, I think we had one season of Baker, which is compared to the Baker that's in Tampa now.
Yes.
We had the kind of come alive Baker for that one season, and everyone's like, this is our guy.
Yep.
And then that's when we did a little shifting around, and then he kind of fizzled out.
Yep.
The shoulder injury,
If we still had Baker, I don't think this would have been a win for us at all. I think moving on would have been the right decision. And because, I don't know, seeing how he's been playing this year, I know there's been talks of maybe we messed up. Maybe we should have kept Baker. But when you come out and you play absolutely perfect football to beat the number 1 seed in the AFC on their turf, it really shows you that not only do you know what we're doing, but we have our guy.
It was a great game.
It was a stellar game.
And I think to wrap most of this up, because we'll touch on one more point that I still think is something we need to address in the Browns locker room.
Okay.
Wide receiver room.
The wide receiver room.
The wide receiver room.
I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, man, giving up DPJ, that's hard. Tillman, I don't think he did anything.
Where is Tillman?
Tillman's not doing anything. We only have Moore and Cooper. But I've noticed these past 2 games what's been happening.
Well, Mari's been coming alive.
What else?
Njoku
has been coming alive. Without that third wide receiver, without a DPJ, Njoku's finally in the game. And the game would not have been the same if we had not been utilizing Njoku. I think that our wide receiver room is lacking and it needs more. But I think without that third true wide
you're
receiver...
right. It does need more. Elijah Moore to be more active in the wide receiver.
He did have some stats. Hold on. I think I have them pulled up right here.
So I'll say my final point with this team real quick on what I saw. I think they need to go back into the week after this game. They need to look at the film from the first half, right? From an offensive standpoint.
Yep.
Defense wasn't bad in the first half either.
Defense
Not bad at all.
Bad at all.
So you look at the first half offense. You show that to your players and you say, hey, here's all the mistakes we're making. Now let me show you how we need to be.
Yes.
And then you just put the second half in front of them. And you look at that team and you say, you see how Njoku's getting the ball. You see how Amari Cooper, our two best weapons, are getting the ball.
Yep.
Jerome Ford then has room to run because we're stretching the field.
Absolutely.
Deshaun has room to run when we need to.
Absolutely elite up the gut.
If you're Kevin Stefanski, how do you not this week show that second half and say, this is the offense we want and this is what we're running the rest of the season. And not just one half at a time. Next week, come out and do the same thing you did in the second half. Get Njoku the ball. Get Amari Cooper open. When you take the pressure off Amari Cooper by giving to Njoku, boom, open up a big run.
Absolutely.
There goes Elijah Moore open up a little bit.
Absolutely.
Jerome Ford opens up.
I'll give this a little shout too. When you open up like that, give Elijah Moore a chance. And I'm not saying give Elijah Moore a chance by, giving him a few more targets a game. I'm saying whenever you see Elijah Moore trying to make a catch, it's always on the sideline, it's always out of bounds. Hit him in the open field.
Yeah.
Hit him over the middle. Give him room to run. He's still on his rookie contract. It's his third year in the league.
Yep.
He's still an elite wide receiver who needs a chance to show that he deserves to be on the field. He deserves to be wide receiver too. If you keep hitting him on the sideline, you're not going to be able to make the catches you need to make. So give him a chance, and he'll show you why you wanted him on the team.
I mean, in the summary of the Browns wide receiver room, I'll give you one thing that sums up to me. We have some of the best route running catch passers in the league.
Absolutely.
And we focus on going to the outside so much that, why?
We're not using their strong suits in our favor. We're trying to manage the game. When you have players like that, when you have an Amari Cooper, when you have an Elijah Moore who can make any route look seamless,
he can make people miss.
You need to use him over the middle. When you have David Njoku, who's a great runner.
He'll just run right through you.
He'll just run right through you. You put anyone in front of him.
Yeah.
Anyone in front of him. The only person who can stop him dead at the line's Ray Lewis.
And, Kyle Hamilton was stopping him a little bit, but even at that, one guy in our team's not going to stop him every time.
Absolutely not. And it's good to see that they're opening it up. It's good to see that they're giving the boys a chance to show why we wanted them, why they're great wide receivers, why they should be in the talks for top receivers.
Now, I'm going to wrap up what I want to say by one thing. The Cleveland Browns are a top 5 team in the NFL.
In the NFL, huh? You know what? It's shocking to hear, because when you hear that, you think Eagles, you think Miami, you think Kansas City, you think the Dolphins, you think all elite teams. But truthfully, we beat Lamar Jackson. We beat the Ravens. We beat the Bengals. We are beating elite teams. We're beating elite defenses. We are showing up every single week. And when you put it like that, show me the teams that you think are better than the Browns. And you know what? I'll show you reasons why we deserve to be in that top 5 spot.
Look out.
When you have a defense like we do, when you have someone playing perfect football in the second quarter, it's hard to say, no, they're not elite. Yes, they absolutely are. Yeah, you know what? I think you're right.
Because if you look at the stats in the past weeks, we are a 6-3 team.
Yes.
With some good wins under our belt.
Great wins under the belt.
And we're 6-3 with QB play that every week has been different almost.
It has been very different.
If you give us a QB consistently through the rest of the season, why can't we not be stopped?
Absolutely. There's no, especially with a QB who can use his legs like Deshaun.
I mean, you look at it, we were winning with PJ Walker.
We were winning with PJ Walker.
We were
and
winning
that's
because
crazy.
we have a defense that can win us a game alone.
We were winning with PJ Walker and D-Hop. Like, it's not... If we're winning games with a XFL QB and, our kicker, if someone can consistently come in and throw the ball, make our men make plays, give us an opportunity, there's no reason why nothing should be stopped. I mean... Nothing at all. Honestly. You give us any team in front of us. Eagles, I think we beat them.
Okay. Eagles, I gotta say, I think the Eagles are probably the top team to beat.
Absolutely, but I don't think it'll be a blowout. No. Absolutely not. I think it'll be a...
The reason I say that?
Tush push.
Well, obviously tush push, but more so that defensive line of the Eagles and our offensive line, we would get suffocated.
I've forgotten about our offensive line.
So, in defense of the Eagles...
To be fair, face the Niners. Elite defense.
Yeah.
Beat them.
It is true. We were a little healthier, though, on the line at that time.
We were, but still. You give us our healthy line.
I have no doubt in my mind that the Browns are a top 5 football team.
Absolutely. Give us Buffalo. I think we give them problems.
You
give us the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean...
The Chiefs don't have an offense.
The Chiefs don't have an offense at all. The Ravens have a better offense than the Chiefs. Yeah. Absolutely. 100%. And if we can do this to the Ravens... There's no reason to say we couldn't do this to the Chiefs.
If you give us a healthy Deshaun Watson for the rest of the year, I don't see a reason why we're not winning the AFC North. Especially.
I don't see it at all.
I know the Bengals are coming alive, but they just lost to Houston.
They did just lose to Houston.
Props to Houston. Houston's then we'll talk about it in the next podcast.
The Steelers just beat Green Bay, but you got to think, the Steelers beat Jordan Love with no running backs.
They're beating these teams by a field goal, though.
Exactly.
Like, I can't say it because we won by a field goal.
We won by a field goal.
But we played a hard-fought game to get that.
We came back from a 15-point deficit. That's what we did.
Like, the thing
it wasn't neck and neck the entire time at all. We had to scratch and claw our way up. Those games are just...
The Steelers only play one-possession games all game long. It's not like they play one-possession games for half a game.
Yeah.
It's the whole game. They're one mistake away from losing every single week.
Absolutely.
Somehow they manage to pull it out.
Yep.
So if you look at it, and it's a confident say. I can't not say it. The Cleveland Browns are a top 5 NFL team.
Absolutely.
And I can't wait to see what the rest of the season holds because we have one of the easiest schedules after this. The Ravens were one of our toughest ones left.
Absolutely. We do have, honestly, the 2 hardest games I've seen us having. I believe we do have to face the Texans. We do have to face Jacksonville. We have the Steelers and we have the Bengals. 2 divisional opponents and 2 hard opponents to go with that
Jacksonville looked like crap.
Jacksonville did suffer today. Yes, they were beating the Niners. We beat the Niners. So when you think about that, you think Jacksonville would be very easy for us.
It's not easy.
Houston, I think with the way our defense is playing, I mean, Houston can have as big of an offense as they want, but our defensive line's crushing them. But more importantly, our secondary is going to give blanket coverage to Tank Dell, Noah Brown, Nico Collins, Mechie, and honestly, C.J. Stroud won't have options. And you can't scramble. We just took out the best scrambler in the league, so I think that's a win.
Yep.
And then you have the Steelers again. That's just a defensive showout.
Yeah.
And with Deshaun back, I mean, we were going through heartbreak that game, so I think everyone's spirits were a little down. But the way Deshaun's been playing lately, I think we beat the Steelers. Yep. I think we walk through the rest of the season.
Oh, I have no doubt. I think the end of the season is going to be the Browns just an absolute smoke show.
Absolutely.
So I don't have much more to say besides what a great win.
Besides, go Dog Pound.
Go Dog Pound. And until next week, man, I'm pumped.
I am absolutely
I haven't been this pumped for some Browns football in a long time.
Absolutely.
It's been a pleasure.
Good talking to you.
Good talking.